Hi everybody, Abhijit representing Apna Infotech, a software company. I would typically say operating out of Janakpuri, but now I am proud to say that Apna has gone completely virtual. And this is a decision we have taken, not, of course, triggered by COVID, but over the last few months, we have deliberated on this and made a conscious decision to go virtual for all times to come. So even after COVID is resolved, we will continue to work largely virtually. We will take up a small office space just for the sake of saying that we have an office, but we expect 80% of our teams to work from home long term. As a part of that, we are taking initiatives to resolve challenges posed by this work from home paradigm, so to say, and including initiatives such as we got these folding desks designed specifically to save space and yet elegant design with sound optimization so that you are able to make calls at your desk, etc. I can share the design with anybody who's interested, but we are going to ship these to everybody before Diwali, over and above the Diwali gift, of course. And so that's what is taking up most of my time nowadays, is to figure out how to make work from home most effective.
Maybe Atul can introduce himself. Can you hear me, Atul?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I am Atul Kumar Saxena. I am presently the president of one of the largest chambers in India, that is Indian Importers Chamber of Commerce and Industry. The chamber works practically all over the world, but we have 17 locations in the world where we have parallel chapters of the chamber, like IICC Bangladesh, IICC USA, IICC Russia, Ethiopia. So we work 24 by 7, and I have been working from home for last 30 years. So for me, there was no change.
Thank you, Atul. Praveen, can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi everyone, I'm Praveen Prasangi. I'm an architect. I run a firm called Vanguard Design. I operate out of Nehru Place. We do predominantly commercial, and I've been an architect for the last 14 years almost, and I've been running this for last 7-8 years. We do a lot of commercial properties. We do hotels, hospitals and everything. Probably once I do one-to-one with many of you here, I'll explain you in detail what all I've done.
Thank you, Praveen. Neeraj, can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I am Neeraj Bhargav. I run a offset printing and packaging unit by the name of HBD Packaging Private Limited, which is based in Greater Noida, and I'm proud to state that we employ around 500 people in my factory.
Naveen, can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi everyone, this is Naveen Sardana. I'm the past chairman of AOE. I'm a partner in a company called Living Luxuries, and we are into the business of modular fitted furniture, especially kitchens, wardrobes, vanities, and we also offer top quality built-in kitchen appliances from any part of the world, name it Falmec, Siemens, Bertolini, La Germania, whichever one you require is available with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Naveen. Veer, can you introduce yourself, please?
My name is Veer Sagar. I have about 56 years of work experience. I'm also the very past chairman of AOE. My basic job, a company runs a back office, which has been doing for 20 plus years now. And currently I'm taking advantage of the pandemic to do two things. I've just finished writing a book about my experiences, and I'm having a fight with the editor of finalizing it. And the reverse thing, I want to take out stuff and she wants to keep in stuff. So anyway, we worked that out. And also taken advantage to do a lot of digital marketing on Criconet, and I'm very happy that it's sort of taken off. We're getting registrations. We crossed 35,000 registrations this month, at the end of the month from beginning of August. And we are about to finish the entire design, the trial of one-to-one coaching as part of this thing, which you can coach from your house, and you can take coaching from your house with the coach's house.
Managing team members I have already introduced. In case somebody wants to add something, that will be wonderful. And Rajiv's introduction today, Vikas is giving, so I'm not giving him an opportunity to speak. So I move to guests, Mohit and Nirmal. Nirmal, maybe you can tell us about yourself.
Yeah, hi. So first of all, thanks to Mr. Vij and thanks to all of you for having me here. I had close to 8 years innings in communication with various agencies, with McCann, with what was then called HTA, which is now J. Walter Thompson, a part of the WPP group. And after about 8 years in advertising, I moved to the entertainment side and I joined ESPN Star Sports. And I was head of marketing there. And I was there for 12 odd years. Got into, since digital was on the rise, I got into the digital technology bit, and I was the CEO for a global digital literacy network called Digitas LBI. And it was towards the end of 2014 that I and two friends of mine got together and decided to do something that we truly loved doing, and this time for ourselves. So we set up our own brand strategy consultancy firm. We called Experial. We're based out of Gurgaon. We work with organizations, big and small, multinational Indian organizations, basically help them build brands. This could be new brands, old brands, healthy brands, ailing brands, brands that want to diversify. And that's precisely what we do. So with organizations of all kinds, profit-making organizations, not-for-profit organizations, some work that we do is purely because we love doing it. For example, we work with some sporting bodies, help them do lots of stuff on the brand front, which is purely pro bono. So brands is the space we operate in. And one of the categories, new categories we got working on was electrical batteries. And I was just having a casual chat with Mr. Vij, and I'm trying to understand this entire space of power and batteries. And he said, somebody in our network might just know a bit about this. So why don't you come in and just join us for a session? And here I am. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, Nirmal. Mohit, can you introduce yourself, please?
My name is Mohit Goel. I'm a second generation entrepreneur, heading a company name change agency. We brand ourselves as the Mighty IT People, primarily in the space of hardware, software, and maintenance. By hardware, we are authorized partners for brands like HP, Dell, and Lenovo, setting up IT infrastructure for companies, including the servers and desktops and laptops.
Thank you, Mohit. Pradeep, can you introduce yourself, please?
My name is Pradeep Anand. I am in the business of music and run an online platform for online and offline karaoke. One of the few platforms in the world which specializes basically on Indian karaoke. Been in the business for over 15 years. Prior to that, a lot of other businesses.
Thank you, sir. With this, we move on to next item on the agenda. From today, we will give emphasis to a fixed slot in the AOE meet where AOE members may like to talk about another AOE member. Secretary Abhineet, request you to kindly share our thoughts here. Over to you, Abhineet.
Thank you, sir. Now, as entrepreneurs, we all realize how critical one-to-one interactions are for the purpose of building trust. And at AOE, we firmly believe that trust should be built, relationship be nurtured, and business will automatically follow. In the coming period, we shall focus even more to enable one-to-ones amongst all our fellow members. And other than introducing ourselves, we shall also be introduced by a fellow member at times. To begin with, I hereby request AOEN Vikas Rajput to introduce fellow AOEN Varun Madhov and further the internal producer of the day, Mr. Rajiv Mathur.
Thanks, Abhineet. Hi, everyone. Vikas Rajput here. I actually had 3 one-to-ones within the last 1 month. One with Sanjoy, one with Varun, and one with Rajiv. But since Sanjoy is not there, I'm going to skip that introduction for the next meeting. With Varun, I've known him already for quite some time, almost like I think 10 years now. But it was still refreshing to do a one-to-one with him and know more about what he's currently doing. He's a PG postgraduate from NIS in the field of communication and marketing. He has over 10 years of extensive exposure and impressive portfolio for end-to-end solutions in real estate and licensing industry. He has a complete network of real estate advisors with expertise in all aspects of real estate, whether it's buying, selling, leasing, anything. He has large list of clients, which includes HNIs, non-resident Indians, foreign nationals, corporates, and developers also. I also did a one-to-one with AOIN Rajiv Shankar Mathur, who is also today's internal speaker. Rajiv Mathur is a respected global leader who has operated extensively in the US, Europe, and Asia for nearly 40 years. He has previously held top management positions in large IT corporations like Hewlett Packard, Fujitsu ICL, and HCL, as well as built and scaled up startup organizations with a global footprint. As country head for computers at HP India, he launched the company's computer business in India. He also successfully managed the integration of the Hewlett Packard and HCL joint venture. After creating the international business unit for HCL, Rajiv set up the European operations of HCL in over 9 countries, achieving in a period of 3 years revenue growth in the excess of 100% compounded year on year. That's a tremendous achievement. Rajiv has turned into an entrepreneur over the last several years. Passionate about leveraging technology for disruptive business solutions, Rajiv launched Critical Care Unified Private Limited, CCU, a home healthcare company with special emphasis on critical care at home. During my recent one-to-one with Rajiv sir, I discovered that he is a very, very nice man and has such great achievements in such large international ventures, and yet he is so humble. He was about to launch operations in Pune in March when COVID started in India, and hence it got delayed. But he was determined to not allow this COVID situation to hamper his business. He actually converted this adversity into opportunity by introducing services first for COVID care and then for COVID aftercare, which generated new orders and reduced the COVID impact on his business. His dream is to expand this business to all Tier 1 and Tier 2 cities in India so that more and more people can benefit from his services at local level and they need not rush to metros for the same. I wish him all the best for his presentation. Over to Rajiv ji.
Thank you very much, Vikas. You were both very gracious and very generous in your introduction. So highly appreciate it. Yes, and I also enjoyed the interaction that I had with you. It was great. And the other thing is, basically one IT professional to another, which was even more fulfilling, So it was great. Thank you again. Okay, thank you, everybody. Great to be here again. What Shishir had mentioned was that the last time I made a presentation was as a guest, and I wasn't an AOEN. So I now, as a member of AOE, happy to sort of present. And I thought what we'll do is just share some of my learnings, experiences, hits and misses in the career that I have had. And in the amount of time that I spent working, there were a lot of back, and therefore a lot of learnings as well. So I will just share my presentation now with you. Please let me know if anybody doesn't see it, and then we'll take it from there. So I've been now a member with AOE, and I thought I'll just share what my views on being here are. I've been a member for roughly about a year, and I know Tejinder ji will be knowing the exact date for his follow-ups. So, but it's been great. And what I like to call AOE when somebody asks what is it, and I like to call it that it's a bunch of silver foxes, people with gray hair, but with young minds. And I think an organization which has tremendous opportunity for interaction and for being able to add value amongst members, and I guess even as we move further along in many other ways in terms of to other entrepreneurs, to society, and all the rest of it. So it's been great to be here. This has been roughly my professional journey, so typically, started off with my career with a company called DCM Data Products, where Veer Sagar was leading that company a few years later. But Veer and I go a long way. When I was with IKIM, and he was my boss there, a super boss, and so I know him since roughly about 1985. And I know all of you would have great stories about what your experiences are and your learnings are. So when I went to Europe, the thing that motivated me or gave me the confidence was that if you can do business in India, with all the diversities, with all the different languages, multiple dialects, right? Lots of cultural issues, between the North and the South. I thought, hey, here's an opportunity to actually apply our skills honed in India in another geography, which probably maps on rather well in terms of its attributes with our own country. We have such an august gathering here of AOE members. Clearly the help that I would look for is spread the word, because we are not very old. Not many people know about that these sort of critical care services can be provided in the home. So in your circles, wherever, if you're able to talk that these sort of services are available, because a lot of people are now not wanting to go to hospitals for some traditional things they would go to, like IV, or even for dialysis they would prefer to get that at home, or for for chemotherapy, etc., all of that. Yeah. So there's those sort of things. So if you just spread the word, any expertise, if it is sitting within AOE members here or others on building a franchise model, I would love to sort of get some inputs and debate on it, and see how we can implement in our business, because that's quite germane to the growth strategy that we have for. And anything you think can help in terms of building a strategic alliance. If somebody has got some other piece of technology or some other value proposition that can is synergistic with us, happy to look at that. Yeah. So that is what I have in summary, and I hope I shared all my experiences from on the ground. I don't have an MBA from Harvard, so whatever I have shared is actually beating the streets and learning from there. So thank you very much. Happy to answer any questions if you have.
Rajiv, remember once you were doing that exercise about catching out the spurious medicines and spurious thing, what happened to that?
Okay, that was one of the platforms we called it Buster. But you know what? We couldn't. It didn't fly. It didn't fly because everybody came up with some objection. Like even the pharma companies, where nearly 30% of pharma products in this country are spurious, right?
Yes.
Baby products are 50% spurious. But then they went into this mode that, if we use this, then we are willy-nilly telling the world that there are our brand. For instance, Augmentum, there are spurious Augmentum lying in the market. So there are all kinds of issues. So we couldn't. We okay. That was one of the platforms we had to just.
It was a good idea. It was a tremendous idea. I remember you demonstrating it to me somewhere. I forget where it was.
We were very enthusiastic about it, but it didn't fly.
Rajiv, a question. You mentioned about even things like that chemotherapy or transfusion and all can be done at home. Is that true?
Yeah. Answer is yes. So what happens is, for example, dialysis can be done at home, right? There is a process for that, and for whatever frequency that one needs, that can be done. We are actually launching the dialysis at home services in this quarter. And chemotherapy, you see, once the chemo port has been put in, and you have to do the first cycle in the hospital and maybe the second. But after that, all the other cycles can eminently be done in the home, the infusions and all of that. So those are, like recently we had a case, Shishir, where a lady, 92-year-old lady living in a senior living place in Delhi, has a pacemaker, and a pacemaker needs to be sort of tested every 6 months, right? And her 3 daughters are living in the US, and this COVID time they couldn't come, and they said, "Hey, our mother, who is completely immobile, bedridden, right? They didn't want her to go to the hospital, so we put the whole thing together." And did the whole pacemaker. It's called the pacemaker interrogation, where we had the equipment and you have doctors and all the rest of it, and it was then tuned and battery checked, etc., all of that done in the home. So there are some newer services which are coming, and we're looking at that. There'll be quite a lot that we can do outside the hospital.
Rajiv, hi, Naveen here.
Yeah.
Naveen here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I know my audio, there's a problem here.
Okay, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, have you got some ICMR approval for this kind of a thing, or what is it?
Okay. No, for the services that we are providing?
That's right.
No. So we don't need any ICMR approval. In fact, there is now some amount of which is the health ministry is now bringing in some protocols that need to be followed. Right. So once with those protocols are launched, then we will comply. But we have been, in advance looking at global standards and protocols and all of that. So we follow that. ICMR approval required for the testing, like for instance, there are only certified labs that have been authorized to do COVID testing, for example. So that needs a specific ICMR approval, yeah, but not in the services that we are providing.
Friends, I would just like to share my personal experience of how I took care of my father, and Rajiv helped me a little bit in that. In the month of January, my father had to be hospitalized for multiple disorders, kidney, heart, lungs, nothing was working. And he was in ICU for 10, 12 days. And then after that, he was shifted in the room. And finally, after 20 days, against the wishes of my doctor, in Apollo, my friend is a doctor, and I had admitted my father under him only. Against his wishes, I had to pull him out of the hospital because my father was not at all ready to stay in the hospital. So we shifted him to home. We provided an ICU type of a service, and his recovery has been tremendous. So going forward, I just want to share with everyone that yes, this is a very viable and possible option, and especially very for the people who are old age, and they are sometimes at that age that they say कि यार मेरे को मरना है तो मेरे को घर में मरने दो. So basically at that time when I bought him from the hospital, I was prepared, and my friends had prepared me कि यार even if he does not come out of this disease, let him die at home. But fortunately, he has come out of it. The only regret or the only suggestion which I have for Rajiv is that during this experience of mine, I have found that the doctors in India, they still do not know, or they are still not that professionalized to know how can one provide services at home and still take care of the patient. Thank you.
Thank you. No, absolutely, because patients always look at the advice, or they want to steer from the doctors. Absolutely, and thank you, Neeraj. This is something that we are, like I said, spread the word, and that's really what we are doing. As we move along, we are soliciting more and more clinicians and practitioners to buy into it. So true, I agree with you. Thank you.
I want to say one thing. I used Rajiv services after my brain operation, and I must say, very good, very, very good.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Veer.
Can I request Vice Chairman Naresh to please?
Yeah. Hi, Shishri. Thanks. It's a privilege to introduce our guest speaker. Blue Pencil is a new age marketing consulting company that lets your enterprise sail beyond the limitation of a traditional digital agency setup. With their sharp focus on business-first solutions, attracting talent from across the globe, emphasis on data insights and communication tools, we are designed to undertake and deliver more. Blue Pencil core team is a presentation by a team, comes with over 50 years of experience delivering world-class digital marketing services and solutions in diverse categories. Their works include brand building, digital and e-commerce business growth, digital automation, content and social marketing, web technologies, contemporary with the times. They're keen to undertake any kind of your marketing challenge and be your growth partners. As you are aware, today, many of us have idea of what digital is, but probably we want to have more detailed insight into what more can be done by we all entrepreneurs to gain advantage of this technology, whether it in terms of customer satisfaction, reaching new customers, logistics, and so on. So I give the platform to Roshan Kumar, Rahul Roy, Megha Chaturvedi, and Gaurav Kulshrestha. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. So it's a pleasure being with you, and we heard various stalwarts from your side calling yourselves silver foxes. It's a privilege and an honor being a part of your forum. I think there's a lot of deep and real depth in the knowledge that you imparted till now, and this is my first discussion with you, and really privileged to be a part of this discussion. And like you mentioned, and your website also mentions, I think any knowledge, in case it is not imparted to others, it goes waste. So that being the core purpose, we'll share some perspectives of the space that we are in, and it'll be great to hear you as well in terms of what do you think about it. In terms of a broad structure to the discussion that we plan to have today, we are talking about some foundations to the space that digital is, some key trends. We'll talk about an entrepreneur's outlook where we would spend more time, and then we'll talk of certain inspirations and what's next. Talking about the consumer, if we have to, today the consumer is changing very rapidly, and when it comes to some of the decisions that he's taking, it is based on value variables like what is the rate of this item today. He does a lot of research on a lot of platforms. There's a weakening in loyalty that we are seeing across categories. People are liking to go for products that talk about health and care. Then they are picking up things which are in the space of omni-channel experiences per se. So for example, definitely people are consuming a lot of content as well as a lot of consumer durables at home. So whether it is luxury foods at home, and I think Mr. Rajiv was talking about his ventures in the food space and the opportunity he had. So today is the time when at-home food options is picking up. OTT consumption is on a high. Startup, so any voice assistance or entertainment hub that could be provided at home is picking up. So the overall omni-channel experience that was otherwise, let's say, outdoor is shifting in various channels. The third thing I want to call out is the audience is shifting to an audience that we call I want what I want when I want it, which primarily means that they are impatient. They are looking for convenience. They're looking for easy access. They are, to some extent, commanding the ways in which businesses are run, focusing on the consumer. And there is a lot of difference in the way they now consume. So smartphones are in, a lot of social media consumption is in because of various reasons. There is Social Dilemma, which is a beautiful movie out there to tell how social media influences our decision-making. So such context has to be understood when we talk of the consumer today. It's a so one simple study by McKinsey calls out India as a market where people would be highly value conscious. And by value, I mean, can we deliver something iterative or something additional, or of course, the real value of money that we are talking about. In India, broadly, we have 50% penetration of internet today, and different platforms have different statistics. This is by We Are Social, which is an Australian company. And mobile has a far higher penetration, which is around 78%, which includes both feature phones as well as smartphones. Social media has a far lesser penetration. So when we talk of global numbers, we would be, so global internet penetration is around 55%. So we are at par, but in terms of social media, they are far ahead. And because there are certain countries which operate, let's say, Facebook is their internet kind of operations as well. Talking about a broad customer journey map today, internet has a lot of penetration in various touch points. So whatever you see above the bar is where perhaps internet gets active, and below the bar are some of the offline or physical touch points. And slowly and steadily, the elements above the bar have taken more importance, especially in the COVID times and the post-COVID times. Perhaps this is again something that we would have to look into. As a buyer funnel, and this does not necessarily mean only digital, but let's say once we acquire the customer, what do we do then? So acquisition, activation of the consumer, and once it is there in our funnel, what do we do next? Upsell, cross-sell, and then the referral path, and all that viral loop is something that we would have to take into consideration across categories. So that was just to set up a perspective. Moving on to some of the key trends that we are seeing today. The consumer is moving to life on demand, which primarily means that they want things delivered to them. And some of the common examples being how we consume Netflix, how do we consume the education today. The MOOCs are very popular. Every educational company is today talking of how can they deliver their services in a way that it could be delivered home on demand kind of a solution. Urban Clap, which started some time back, is on its peak currently considering the market situation. People want services at home, quality services. And as people, we have moved away from status fishing, which was when we were okay with something which was good enough. We today need something which is the best, which is at its max. I want to talk about innovative experiences as such. So, for example, if it comes to some of the brands getting into night delivery of food, pay later as an option came up as a innovation in the payment space. Innovative food packaging has come up, and some of the brands that we have worked with is in the food space. So some of the examples might be coming from that space, and thus identifying opportunities of creation of differentiation and relevance for the consumer is something that we want to touch upon here. Collaborative partnerships is something that that is very critical today. Aggregators that I was talking of, the OTAs that we call in some other industries, is important. The banking and payment options is something that that is critical, because in a customer journey, while somebody is looking for the payment options and he's not finding some of his favorite payment options, so studies say there is a 25% chance that the person could drop off. Today, there are a lot of partnerships which are happening between brands as well. So, for example, recently we heard of Hero and Harley discussion going on. Bajaj already has a partnership with KTM, Kawasaki kind of a thing. Renault, Nissan have had partnerships for long. And these are in the same space. So Renault, Nissan, they are not too different as brands, but still they are together for certain reasons. Similarly, partnerships with some of the media players, media platforms, and depending on the size of the business, brands do partnerships with Googles and Facebooks of the world and similar stuff. They also do business expansion through partnerships. So just like Mr. Rajiv was talking a while back, that there is an opportunity for finding franchise partners and expanding through that route. That's that's a very interesting space today, because expansion in the COVID world it's not necessary it would happen through the founder himself being present everywhere. Franchise is, of course, a very interesting route. We are consulting somebody in similar space currently, and we are not experts on the subject anyway. Having said that, we have identified consultants for them, and we identified established routes like Franchise India, etc., in that evaluation. And then there is another model that I want to call out, which is the agents module. So particularly for selling, we are working with certain clients where we are looking for people like an LIC agent kind of a model, who could then take the brand to the next stage and take it ahead. So broadly, in collaborative partnerships, there is a lot of scope for businesses that we are talking of today. As a startup brand, I think there is a lot that goes with experimentation, and I would not spend too much of time on this because it's. I'm sure all of you have done your due experiments, and that's how the businesses have been at a certain stage. But constant experimentation, even in the digital space, is a must, because something that worked in a different industry, in a different setup, might not necessarily be the case when it comes to our specific scenario. Coming on to some of the objective initiative mapping. So depending on what stage and what is the target, what is the objective of the initiative that we are taking, we may want to use a different metric in different scenarios. So if it is reach or it is acquisition, conversion, the matrix would differ. So keeping it generic might not be the right approach, but making it specific with what is the objective of this campaign right now is something that delivers better. Quickly touching upon some of the metrics that might be important. So for a reach kind of a campaign, impressions, clicks, and of course there is a variable called reach that could be a good thing to look at. But when it comes to bottom of the funnel, where we are looking at revenues, etc., cost per acquisition, cost per sales are the kind of parameters that we should ideally look at. Here I've put some of the tools that might be useful from a startup perspective, and I'm sure some of you might be using all of them. So HubSpot is a good tool when it comes to automation of mailers and whatever CRM activities one is doing. CleverTap is a beautiful tool that could be utilized for building engagement and retention on the online platforms. SimilarWeb lets you compare yourself to other competitive players who are in similar space. And the tools that I've put are in freemium space. So you would have a free version as well as a paid version. Some tools are completely free, like Google Trends. Google Trends, interestingly, gives you what are consumers searching for you, competition, and it also talks about some of the related keywords in that space. G2 is something that I want to call out, and I assume that most of you might not have heard of it. It lets you compare tools. So for example, if I'm comparing between a HubSpot and let's say ActiveCampaign, which is a competitor, can I compare it looking at them together? So that's something that G2 does, very interesting model. The next one is VR Social, which lets you understand what is the digital penetration and some of the consumer trends in different markets. This is VR Social. It does not call out VR Social right now. I'm sorry about it, but that's a good platform to refer to how digital is working in different parts. Canva, I'm assuming that most of you might have used. This is primarily for making creatives better, good creatives. And there are a lot of other competition as well, but this is a decent tool by Guy Kawasaki and good in that space. SEMrush lets you do a lot of platform comparison from a SEO and search engine marketing perspective. Very interesting tool from that perspective. So not discouraging what you're using in any manner. These are some top of mind tools that could be useful in case you would like to. Quickly moving to some of the inspirations in current times and what lies ahead. In these times, various brands have done really interesting stuff. So, for example, we had this campaign by Nike that talked about, in case you have ever dreamt of playing for the world, your time is now. So Nike, which has a very out of the world tagline, which is just do it, moved to a different tagline just to be relevant in these times. The red one is by Marvel, and they came up with this tagline, just stay home. That you don't need a superhero to save the world, it is you who would save it. Google came up with how to help in a very interesting fashion. And there are various other brands that came out. And in case your brand has any reason to come out and talk about something, it is time. So similarly, when we talk of, or I'll let my partner Megha talk about it. Yeah, please go ahead.
Hi, I am sorry we've taken a whole lot of your time. We'll try and wrap this as soon as possible. Okay, just a second. I'm gonna stop sharing my video. I will. Okay, so this is how the brands were talking about the second part of branding when it came to COVID times. McDonald's separated its golden arches. Coca-Cola was trying to communicate via its logo how one is supposed to, practice distancing, staying apart. Was the best way to stay united. There was Tourism Australia that was also taking a stand. So the point being that your brand might be taking a beating right now. Your brand might not be relevant. However, that doesn't mean you do not share the story. You have the only way to engage with your client, with your customer, with your consumer is to be a part of the story. And this is how people or brands in the travel space or brands in the automobile space or even the clothing space, which are taking beating for a short while, were talking to their customers. So one of the examples that was quite popular in India was one by Oyo Rooms. Although in the VC circles they don't have a very sound name, but on social they were doing quite well. This is how they were engaging the people, that they said, you are no longer working from home. Most of us are living at work. So there's the non-stop cooker, your pet is wanting your attention, there's, your children coming in. So we have a room available for you. You can work from one of the Oyo rooms. Yeah. So we are also looking at categories where you can join hands with people who are, for example, let's say a Meraki Essentials is into essential oil business. Can it partner with another brand? Let's say a person who is making masks currently. Can they say, hey, can I reach out to you? I will put a little dab of my essential oil and we can partner and be still be relevant in this space. So if you're looking at making more business, or if you're talking of partnerships, you could partner with industries that are doing well currently. So these are gaming, these are in the defense space, in online retail, rental, packaging, real estate, and so on. I hope you like the business, Shishidada. The example that we've just spoken of. Yeah, so the plan is you have to focus on today. Your brand, your business might have taken a beating, but you don't have to stop. You just have to take a different direction. You can explore new ways to breathe life into existing campaigns, ideas, and harness new technology. You have to plan for tomorrow. So you have to invest in strong clients and partners who have resilient solutions and offering. And the future will look profoundly different. Today's crisis will only lead to sustainable solutions tomorrow. So yeah, we must be prepared to embrace newer, more efficient ways of working. So it could be through cloud, it could be through remote access, and it could be through collaboration, the kinds that we're doing currently with Association of Entrepreneurs. With that, we will open up for questions. Yeah, and I will share my video again. There we go.
So that's broadly about what we had to present. Open for any questions and very happy to be a part of this discussion.
Anybody will have any questions from them?
I have one question to ask. In a scenario, we have multiple platforms where we want our digital presence. Let's say we have a LinkedIn, we have a Facebook, Instagram, etc.
Sure. So there are a lot of solutions in that space, and the solutions have been there in the space for a long time now. So some, if I have to call out, are platforms like Sprinklr, which is a tool in that space. Hootsuite is another, and there are a lot of solutions that are in that space. There are some Indian solutions that have also come in, and there are solutions that also let you do analytics on it it also lets you let these social media comments or whatever is the concern of the consumer then be translated to an internal stakeholder who could be responsible for taking a decision on that, and it could then be swiftly answered after the relevant intervention of the relevant person. So, and there are scheduling solutions as well. So there are solutions, and happy to understand the. We do. Having said that, of course, the solutions belong to somebody else. In case you have somebody to manage it, we would rather create it and then let your team manage it, because that would be more cost effective. But yes, the model exists, and we definitely come together and set it up.
Okay, I have a question.
Sure.
Can I? Yeah. Okay. So, we are a little confused about how to leverage Instagram for our business. It's the healthcare business, very targeted, and all the rest of it. And although it has a very strong visual presence and a lot of interaction and all of that, we are confused what we do. There are stories that go out, etc., stuff like that. Any top level thoughts that you have on where Instagram is today and what direction it's taking? Because I was very excited about leveraging it, and I'm still excited, but we're lost.
Sure. So I'll put my sense there. So every platform has its own strengths and weaknesses, and one common mistake that we do as leaders is that we activate all channels and we put up the same content everywhere. So it's a very important choice that we make and leverage the platform that relates to our business in a certain way. Now, when it comes to the proposition that you asked for, Instagram in particular, Instagram is a platform that thrives on the beauty of an image, and that's the core promise that it has. So, in case we are talking of healthcare in particular, for the context that I can relate to, if we are talking of what kind of images would make sense for somebody where we are giving in-house critical care support, I would go for content which is in the space of showing happy faces of people who are being treated at home, and the stories about them, the Insta stories around them while they're feeling happy being at home. I would rather not show images where somebody's on the bed or he or she is being treated. So it depends on what is the content that would make sense for which platform, and we leverage it in that manner. But you're right that Instagram is the platform of the day. Facebook has taken a relatively backseat when it comes to the social media platforms today.
Just one very quick attendant question. I'm sorry to this thing. Should one look at Instagram only from a brand building perspective, or can it also transform a bit into a lead generation platform as well?
It can definitely translate into lead gen, and we have seen it for different brands. So definitely it has connect with lead generation as well.
So that's about it. I guess I can request Baljit to please convey our thanks to our guest speaker.
Hi, the speakers, Gaurav, Roshan, Rahul, and Megha Chaturvedi. We thank you for your giving a deliberation. These people from Blue Pencil have talked about the digital footprint. They have given excellent and interesting video experience of Hellman's, which was an eye-opener because people, especially like me, who was a chartered accountant, all in all, it was a knowledge learning and technical dissemination given to our best members, especially useful for marketing part of the business. We thank you all for giving your valuable time.
Baljit, can you continue with the treasurer report now?
Okay, I am Baljit Singh Bedi, General Secretary and founder member of AOE. Thank you members, guests and guest speakers who have helped AOENs in gaining entrepreneurial learning. Good things happen in your life because of good thoughts in your mind. And usually these good thoughts are there in your mind because of good people in your life. This is the principal objective of AOE. It also includes learning, knowledge, and wisdom sharing, creating opportunities for relationship building between members and helping each other to grow. AOE presently, 97th AOE meet in its present form, and I'm excited to bring to the notice of the AOENs that they will start the coming new year 2021 with our 100th meet. So when the new year starts, we'll come in the 100th meet. This is also the 85th meet after AOE got registered as a society, a non-profit organization. For AOE today, Chairman Shishir Chaturvedi, thank you for your enthusiasm and motivation given to the managing committee members and to all other members. You have been very proactive in the very first month of your becoming the chairman. We also have now 30 wonderful entrepreneur members, and I request that each one of us, we need to add one member every month. How to keep connected with AOE is through www.aoe-india.com and Facebook and LinkedIn. We have a system of one-to-one connect, and by having one-to-one connection with 30 wonderful members, there are endless possibilities. And I'm glad to say that the level of one-to-one meets have really gone up. The AOE Talks is on third Saturdays at the same time as today. AOE membership contribution is rupees 12,000 per annum, which includes monthly meeting contribution and socials. Socials presently kept in abeyance due to COVID-19. We will take active action to all socials once the COVID-19 disappears. So we will have to wait till we are in a better position due to COVID-19. The next 86th 98 AO meet will be on Saturday, 21st November 2020. We thank once again to the guest speakers for their insightful session. We thank AON Rajiv Shankar Mathur for wonderful presentation, giving us to learn a lot. To you all for being here today at the 97th meet of AOE. I wish all of you happy Navratri, Durga Puja, Dasera, Eid-e-Milad and Diwali, which is going to be celebrated before our next meet. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Baljit. Vikas, can we have the treasurer report quickly, please?
Yes, thank you, Shishir. It's a pleasure to take over the stewardship as treasurer from Baljit Singh Bediji, who has now become a general secretary of the association. I am pleased to give the details of accounts, which are as follows. A bank balance as on 16th October 2020 is 2,18,140 rupees. FDR with the HDFC Bank as on 31st March 2020 is 1,83,000. Receivables from members is 1,82,000, that is up to 30th September. The aging for overdue payments is as follows. There are 2 members who have not paid for last 3 years, which is disheartening. We are following up with them, and in the AGM, the decision was taken to terminate the membership of those members who have not paid if it's still unpaid till 31st of October. Other than that, there are a few members who have current years outstanding, which we are taking up with them. We request all members to give their contribution on time to make the association more meaningful, as this is an association and is run by contributions from members itself for their own common benefit. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vikas. I would like to thank all of us who are present today at AOE, including the members and the guests. Rajiv Mathur, your presentation was absolutely wonderful, very inspiring. And even to the founding team of Blue Pencil, my sincere thanks. Regarding our website, AOE website, aoeindia.in is our next new website, which is ready, right? And most of the members' profiles are updated. Our executive administration, Tejinder Singh's relentless follow-up was very important for having all those profiles updated. AON Abhijit Roy, founder of Apna Infotech, has agreed to take our website to the next level under his personal supervision and support from managing team member. We of course, know about your bonding with our managing team member Vikas, but today we can see it virtually. You're sitting in the same place. So we would like to, I would personally like to nominate both of you to do something nice with the website. Exciting developments on our website is something we are looking forward to, right? Thank you, Abhijit, for taking this step. And for our next AOE meet, we have exciting news. Our next AOE meet is on 19th November. Internal presenter is Mr. Sanjoy Sehgal, MD of Accent Software, currently at Netherlands. Our external presenter, thanks to Baljit, is Mr. Amit Prakash from Motivus Consulting Singapore, and his topic is, if I can do it, you can do it too. Good part is, I mean, both these speakers probably will be making their presentations not from India, one from Netherlands, one from Singapore for us. About one-to-ones, we AOENs have the choice to make an interesting presentation in the one-to-one session next month. It's simple, choose a member that you would want to know more about, do a one-to-one with him and present him. Since the time allocated for this is limited, please let the managing team know well in advance. To AOE members, just two things to keep in mind always. The ethos of AOE is sum total of all of us AOENs. And yes, we love to see you at every meeting. To guest, any of the guests, we have two guests here. If you would like to say one good thing that you liked about today's session, or maybe it's not connected properly. If you like what you see and would want to be part of this. Yeah,
so I'm saying it was a pleasure listening to both the presentations. The learnings from Mr. Mathur, I mean, they were a true delight. And then the slightly familiar domain of digital marketing, seeing the presentation also was really nice. It was also very nice to see all the members and kind of listen to their perspectives. So yeah, it was a truly great experience.
Thank you, Nirmal. If to our guest, if you like what you see and would want to be part of this wonderful group of people who make AOE, do contact us through the person who invited you here. Thank you so very much.
Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else wants to say anything before? People are leaving. It's okay. Fine. Yeah, Abhijit.
I wanted to say, record the presence of Mr. Achal Kumar after a long time.
Oh yes.
I'm glad that he has come. I think he is not present at this moment, but I just saw him 2 minutes ago. So I think we should record and appreciate his coming.
Yes, we appreciate. And one thing I forgot initially was asking Tejinder for his introduction. Tejinder, although it's at the end of the meeting, can you please introduce yourself?
I am Tejinder Singh Bedi, and I am working here as a executive administration, and I worked in Corporate Philips India prior to that for around 30 years. Thank you.
But you are doing very good work, Tejinder.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Shishir.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Shishir, can I just say one thing before we part? I just want to compliment Naresh for excellent masks that were done by his team. Yes. The software like that. You the trick that one should use in that. You know, Naresh, when I'm out with some people, I wear 2 of them. But when I'm sitting and having a discussion, I wear 1 of them. They are the most comfortable, and whoever has got them to use it, they were fabulous. Yes. So please thank your team and company for.
Thank you very much.
They were really good.
Okay.
Everybody in my family uses it, Naresh. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Same there.
Sweating is not there. Sweating is not there. In other masks to sweat, but in
Great. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
So much and bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Take care.
Bye.